Hello and welcome back to the ACG interview series. First and foremost, I'd like to thank everyone for the nice comments and messages I've received after the first episode I did. I know my English skills are a little more than questionable, but anyhow, we'll plow on. Tonight I'm being joined by a very long-standing member of ACG called Ginger. How you doing, mate?
All right, all right, thank you.
That's good. Still plowing on in the board and with the campaign planning then, eh?
Yeah, that's ongoing every week. Keep knocking them out.
That's awesome. You've been in ACG for a little bit over 5 years now, is that correct?
Yeah, I think I had a check earlier on just because I knew you'd ask this question. I think it's about 5 years, 8 months.
That's awesome. You've seen the ups and downs then, one could say, I suppose.
yeah, quite a few. I've caught some of them as well, I think. But yeah, it's been interesting. It's been interesting. It's been very good.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. I'm planning to interview some other long-standing members as well that haven't been done yet, so it'll be nice to hear about the good old days, so to speak.
Well, I don't think there were. I know certain people call them the good old days. It was just in the past, wasn't it? Every big group who's been going this long's got a pass. So it's not so much the good old days; the good days now, I think.
Yeah, I suppose you could say that as well. I mean, is there anything specifically that you might miss that was done differently before than what it is now?
Not really. I think because I've been here so long now, I'm used to it. But when I first joined, it was somewhat exciting and somewhat different again. And, obviously, I was in the Battle of Britain at that point, and that's one of my favourite subjects, Battle of Britain. So it was just perfect for me at the time when I needed to fly something different from what I'd been flying, and I've enjoyed it ever since.
Well, that's very nice to hear, and because that's what ACG used to do, the Battle of Britain, wasn't it? Mostly in the beginning, just the same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. So I believe obviously I was looking at. I used to fly Rise of Flight mainly before Cliffs, and it was just something different. And obviously the Battle of Britain suited me fine at the time.
You mentioned Rise of Flight. I used to love that game because that came out in 2013, I think, something
Yeah,
along those lines.
yeah. It must be back then. Yeah, I that's the other thing. The First World War stuff, I actually adored that, and that was one of my main interests. That and the Battle of Britain. But coming from Nottingham, obviously we've got Albert Ball, who used to come from Nottingham, and at the castle there's this big statue of him, and they've got bits of his plane in the castle. And when I was a kid, we used to get to the castle with my mum and dad. We used to look at this statue, and they used to say, "Oh, this is Albert Ball," and he was a this and that, and it just got my imagination going.
Well, that's very nice. That's perfect because I think most of people who are very much into aviation and history, it's something like that, something very special that starts it. Like for Archive last time, it was the fact that his granddad used to take him around places, seeing where they flew during the war, and that's how he got started. And for you, it's a very special story as well.
Yeah, it's funny really because nobody in the family really was interested in aircraft at all. They're still not. Even my kids, they're not bothered. They think I'm a bit weirdo doing this. But yeah, so I don't know where it came from. It was just something. Obviously, in them, I'm talking about in the 70s now. So I'm 57 now. So in the 70s, when I was a little kid, and in them days, we had, well, where I lived in Nottingham, we weren't far from Rolls Royce, Hucknall. And if anybody knows the story about the pilot who escaped from England, the German pilot, that's where he tried to escape from in his Hurricane. We had planes flying around all the while into there because it was the main engine, one of the main engine testing facilities for Rolls Royce at the time, and we had all sorts of aircraft flying about. And again, we used to get lots of planes transiting from Lincoln to, I'd imagine, Wales in them days. And we used to get Phantoms coming over, Lightnings, Vulcans every day. So it was a great time for a kid. When you getting into your early teens, you've got these jets flying about, fully armed up. And in them days, could fly low level as well. and just looked like you could touch them. It just, well, that was it. Gets you going.
That's exactly what it does. I personally didn't grow near an airport or an airfield, but thanks to my family being in the aviation, that's how I got the spark for it. So, but I certainly would have preferred not living near an airport to seeing phantoms and a lot flying over my head when
Yeah.
I was a kid.
It was. I can remember walking home from school once, and we had two starfighters come over, and I don't know where they're from. They were the tiger striped ones, so the orange and black tiger stripes, and they came over that low. It was amazing. And I mean, I've never seen a starfighter since, but then it was just great.
Yeah, it's a very how should one say, an interesting looking plane. Looks like
Yeah,
it looks very fast, and as I understand, I think it probably is quite fast as well.
yeah. No, the other thing, I'm saying from Nottingham. It's the Midlands, and most of our sort of families. We used to go to a place called Skegness on holiday. It's a popular place on the east coast for families. And back in the 70s and early 80s, you'd have Buccaneers and Tornado. Not, I don't know if Tornado want about them. Buccaneers, F111s, and all sorts flying about. There was like a weapons testing somewhere in the Wash. So they used to drop live ammo in the Wash, which is the estuary near up from Norfolk and down from Lincoln. And you'd be on the beach, and these buccaneers would be coming over, and it looked like they were touching the waves. It was just amazing.
Yeah, that sounds quite the view. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I think them days we've done now. We all cut back. We hardly ever see any aircraft now.
Yeah, you don't. Well, unfortunately, none of those beautiful planes don't really fly anymore, and secondly, they're not allowed to fly as low anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So
that's the thing, isn't it?
now you mentioned Rise of Light. Did you fly it on your own or in a group of sorts?
I was in a group, so how it all started was back in my first multiplayer group. Yeah, there was a group called PACCOM, and they was an American boys, and they used to fly Combat Flight Simulator 2, the Pacific Theatre,
Mm-hmm.
and this is when I got my first proper PC. So up until then, really, if I went back, started in the 80s on the Spectrum, playing the wireframe games on my own, obviously. Then as I progressed, went to work, had enough money to buy a new computer. We moved into actual multiplayer in them days. So I think that'd be about 2009, 2010 when multiplayer came out, wasn't it? Something like that. And Combat Flight Simulator, yeah. So I flew that maybe about a year, I think, and they slowly disappeared with other games coming out. And that, I think it disappeared when it came to Combat Flight Simulator 3, and they all sort of didn't like that, so they packed up. But from that, there was a person called, I forgot his name, it might have been Oleg. He'd made a mod for Flight Simulator 3, and that was called Over Flanders Fields. Don't you have heard of that one?
I have not, but I did fly Combat Flight Simulator 3, and I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah. Well, because these lads I was with didn't want to fly that, I moved to this other group, and they were flying this Over Flanders Fields, it was called, and basically it was the First World War sim made from Combat Flight Simulator 3. And you can still get it now. I think if you go on the internet, you can still get that now. It's an ongoing thing, but you got every World War One plane. Everything was in there, and it was just great because I was into that World War One stuff, and it was just great. And these people were playing it online. And I thought, oh God, it's amazing. This is.
That is amazing because I didn't even know. Well, I was probably 10, 12 years old when Combat Flight Simulator 3 was a thing, and it was one of the first combat flight simulators that I tried. And obviously, I didn't understand jack shit about things back then, so I just took the planes in the air and had some fun. But apparently, it was a little bit more in depth than what I've understood.
Yeah, it was a progression, obviously, as things progress. But like Combat Flight Simulator 2, the Pacific Theatre, you had aircraft carriers, Zeros, it's all American Pacific. But you could take off on aircraft carriers. And I think to get into that squadron I was in, I had to do 6 successful touchdowns, one after the other, in a Zero on a carrier before they'd even have you in there. I
You,
must have. It must. I must. And they, what everybody's watching you do it. Obviously, you sit on the plane with everybody else. Sit on the ship, and they say, "Right, take off and do 6 circuits and 6 landings." So you can imagine how nerve wracking that is when there's a load of lads watching you. But we did it, and we had some great fun.
yeah, no pressure then. Eh?
No, but that's when I got my first PC, really. So things changed very fast after that. And obviously, from that, we flew that. We must have flown that until Rise of Flight came out, I think. And everybody said, "Oh, look at this new game that's come out, Rise of Flight. It's First World War." Bang, straight in there we all were.
That was amazing when it came out because obviously it was a massive jump in graphics first and foremost, but the damage modeling was out of this world, and I still think it's on some aspects even better than what we have in BOX, even though it's based on the same engine.
Well, yeah, I thought it was. Graphics wise, I had a crappy PC, but I had a bit of luck that year because I won a car from work. I used to work for Toyota building cars, and I actually won a car.
Wow,
So,
that's something.
yeah, so we used to have this internal lottery, and I used to pay £10 a month out my wages. Everybody in the factory could do it at the time, and every month they'd have a draw and somebody did win a car. Anyway, I won this new car. Obviously, I'd got a brand new car anyway, working there. So we flogged it and had some of the ass done up, some of this, and I bought a new computer, one of the top spec computers at the time. And yeah, my flight sim went from there basically.
That's awesome. And you flew Rise of Light then with this group then, yeah?
Well, we changed groups because basically it all filtered away. Now people come and go. So the Americans, they'd gone. Most of us were British at this time playing this, and it wasn't organised like ACG or anything like that. It was just we all got together. But obviously, when Rise of Flight first came out, some people liked it, some people didn't. So the ones who liked it, we joined a squadron called Black Haze. There was an American squadron again, Black Haze Squadron, and I had about 4 or 5 years in there, I think. Mainly flying the Albatross for Yasta 7.
Oh, very cool. Which Albatross?
We had them all, so I think we started because I don't know if you've seen in box now. If you go onto the obviously flying circuits, you've got Yasta 5 flying, and Yasta 5 used to do these big, basically campaigns like we do for the First World War, and we always used to fly with them. So we was a German unit in there, Yasta 7, and we started, I think, on Albatross D2s, then D3s, and obviously D3-8s, and etc., until we got, in the end, I think we were flying DR1s.
Oh, that's nice. I used to love the D3 Albatross when I flew Rise of Light. I enjoyed that immensely. And then I discovered the Fokker D7, I think it is. That is a
Yeah.
beast.
Yeah, we never got to the D7 in our unit. So basically, they based it on history, what they tried to do. Like we try and do as much as we can. So I don't think we got to that stage in the war when we had the D7s. But in normal scenarios, when we used to fly on his own stuff, we used to fly all sorts, but we was always German. So it made a change when I came to obviously the Battle of Britain. I wanted to be RAF. What a mistake I made there, eh?
Yeah, I could be flying the 109 now, mate.
Yeah.
Now, after your stint in the skies of the Great War, you ended up in ACG. Why or how did you find ACG, and what made you make the jump to World War II?
So the jump to World War II came. So I already had IL2 as well. It was a game when it very first came out. I can't remember what year that was. I think it was the very first one. I'd never played it really because I was into the First World War stuff at the time. Then when I think towards the, no, we'd all spent a load of money on Rise of Flight, as you do. Then Jason decided that, well, the packing Rise of Flight up because they're moving to box. And that pissed everybody off because everybody spent about 500 or 600 quid on planes and things and maps. Then basically, they were basically saying we're not going to support it like we are because we're moving to this new box because that's when Jason switched. So everybody got pissed off, and we thought did his own stuff. Really, we all split up and did his own stuff. And I was always interested in the Battle of Britain. Looked at the videos, and obviously, box wants a bigger thing in them days, but Cliffs was. And everybody seemed to be flying Cliffs. And when basically we all watched that video, the first video, and that was it. I was hooked.
And in the ACG Battle of Britain campaign, did you fly both the Hurricane and the Spitfire, or only one or the other?
No, I got posted, so I joined. I think first mission I had was, I was as nervous as out as you are. I went with 501 Squadron, as most people did in them days, with Dickie's mob. You can imagine what that's like, can't you? never knowing Dickie, then all of a sudden, anyway. So I was in their squadron. I think Bonkin was squadron leader. Very welcoming, and I thought, this is great. This is. We all take off, and we had ground control. And I thought, they got ground control. And also, this is like being in the RAF. This is real. Anyway, go into combat somewhere. Next minute, they're shouting, Jerry's over here, look. So they all shoot off, and I'm on my own. And my first mission, I don't know what I'm doing, on my own. Then ground control gets on red leader, one of your men's sort of lost. Who is it, Ginger? So then getting on the road, Ginger, you need to turn so-and-so, Ed 045. Then the trouble is I've not set my compass up in the aircraft, so I don't know where it is. So I'm looking at the compass, pointing 045, but because I've not set it up in the first place, it could be going anywhere. And, oh my God, did I get lost and frustrated? And I thought, oh my God, I'm making myself right twat here. Anyway, in the end, I think I just bailed out and so I got shot down.
That sounds very familiar. I think most of the or some of the members who haven't really done a lot of flying in the World War II scene, that's might sound quite a bit familiar to them as well.
Yeah. And obviously the compass. You ever seen the compass in Hurricane?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd not set the obviously. I know this now. It reads what you look at when you look at it in the plane. It's exactly what you're reading when you look at it on the floor. And obviously, my compass, my directional gyro, I'd never reset that to match the compass. So I was looking at the directional gyro. That was different to the compass. Didn't know where it was. And anyway, oh my God. But it was great, and I loved it, and I thought it was the best thing I'd ever done.
And here you are, 5 years, 8 months later.
Yeah.
Leading your own unit.
Yeah, well, it wasn't long. After when was it? So maybe 7 or 8 weeks in, they needed volunteers to set a new squadron up. Oh, they didn't need volunteers. I think they just said, right, you're going, Ginger, you were last in, so you can be first out. Oh, great. So 501 ain't changed anyway, let's face it. So I got I think Thane became squadron leader, and I went with Thane from 501 into 32. We took, like we normally do, we took a couple of pilots out of each unit, and we made 32 squadron up, and I've been in 32 ever since.
Well, that's awesome. Tell us a bit more about the 32 shenanigans and the pilots you have.
Oh, it's just great. We've had that many pilots through the times. I mean, Faye was the squadron leader when we first started, and we had a load of the old boys who've gone now, moved on and done other things. And we used to have some great fun. Wombat, we had Wombat in there, Sharp, all them sort of boys came in first. So they were good times. Yeah, we had some Battle of the Britain missions were great anyway, because you knew we was over at England, we knew what we were going to do, we knew bombers were coming. And it was just a great scenario, and that you could have that many planes in Clod in the sky at once. It just looked great. After that, I think then I got Thane. I can't remember what happened to Thane. I don't know if he wanted to get to a German unit, and I became squadron leader. same sort of thing. We rebuilt it again. I mean, I had a great time. Then I left for a couple of months. I had a bit of a dispute, and I got a Mardy on, and that's it. I'm jacked. That's another story. But I left for about 6 months. I think I hated every minute of that not being flying. It was dead strange. I said, I'm not flying anymore. I've had enough of this. Over some petty argument. And the minute I'd left, every Sunday, I just had to look on the internet what was going off, and I missed it like crazy. And in the end, I left on bull pie and came back.
I think this is a very good point that I like to discuss with some people as well. Is ACG is so unique. The hobby is great. Recreating World War II missions, reenactment, flying with your mates on a Sunday. You do that for years, and then you stop, no matter if it was for an argument or anything, and you find yourself not flying on a Sunday evening anymore, and I think you start missing it immensely. It's become such a big part of your life and so important for you that you can't just throw it away.
I think it was for me because I'm at the other end. I'm at the other. Well, I'm not dead yet, obviously, but I'm at the other end of my life scale. So I've had me fun when I was 18, growing up until till the two T's got hold of me. Do you know what the two T's are?
No.
Tits and tyres. Once you get some tits and some tyres, mate, you'll never have any money and no life.
Well, I've got neither of those right now, so I'll be alright for a while.
Yeah. Anyway, after that, obviously I've passed that. I've had the kids. They've all gone now. My kids have all grown up. I've got grandkids, and obviously I've got I had time on to do things again. So that's when I got back into it big time. So yeah, it's when you're not doing it, you do miss it, and I think it's my main hobby now. I'd say I don't go drinking like I used to because I've done it and been there, got the t-shirt. I used to play a lot of golf. Done that, been there. Got boring, so pack that up. But this, it's just something that keeps your mind active, I think. And like you say, you meet people online and you have a good laugh. And every Sunday we have a chit chat, and lads just get together, and everybody seems to enjoy it. I don't see that changing in the future. I'd say the only thing, my only regret was when I left that time, but that was just me. I think with these organisations, and I've been in other ones, you can't let your personal feelings get into it too much. The group's bigger than you. I know we've all got issues and that, but the group, I mean, ACG just carried on without me like it would tomorrow if I went, because it's a bigger thing and it's a big network, and we can cope with that.
That's true, and I think even though now after the split we're a bit of a smaller group now than what we used to be, but I think still I think it's all right, when you've got a lot of people from different backgrounds. It's all right. You can't get along with everyone, but you can still behave like adults and have fun on a Sunday night. But with the amount of people, you you might not get along with everyone, and that's all right. But you still keep coming back to it because it's so important to you and the other guy as well, and because what you create together is so magnificent. You don't wanna ruin it for yourself and everyone.
Yeah, my opinion. I know we split, and we lost some very good guys and some good mates, and it was all unfortunate how it happened. But this is me talking personally. I thought we got too big in the end, and the bigger you get, harder it is to control people, like you say. So I think we've got 100 active members at the minute again at the moment flying. And I don't think we need to go much bigger. Maybe 120, get a couple of more units in. But when we're getting up to the 180s, 190s, there's a lot of people to keep happy. It's a lot of work for the mission builders. It's a lot of work for the mission planners. And in the end, do you ever see the other units? When you fly, I mean, I think I worked it out, and we only ever flew with 2 units, I think, mainly. So the other, maybe on my shift, we might have, say if you had 2 full units, 24 on that side, maybe 48 members in at a time. And they're the only 48 members you'll ever see, basically. They might change units, there'd be different members, but it's only ever 48 planes in the server at a time, maybe, actually fighting. So it's just better for everybody if it's smaller because it's easier to plan, it's easier to control, and it's better on the server.
Yeah, that's you've got a point there. I totally agree. I think the optimum would be to maybe have one more squadron on either side, and then that be I think pretty much close to perfection on terms of the size ACGs.
Yeah, people think you want to get, we want more, we want more, we want more people. It makes us look good. Why, who does it make us look good to? Because we've got 3,000 members. Anybody? Oh no, they've got. You only ever see the same people when you're on your shift, so it don't really bother the member. It just means the mission's got to be about 6 hours long to fit everybody in.
Yeah, that's true. And you've got the shifts, and then you've got the limitation of the game engine, and everything's just so
And the
slow.
amount, I mean, mission builders. I mean, mission build. I build missions. Jackman build missions. Stu builds missions at the minute. I think it's a hard job. Not hard, but it's a time-consuming job. Now, me and Stu are retired, basically, so we've got time to do it. Jackman's working, so he's got to do it when he's finished work. But it might take you 8 to 9 hours a week just to build a mission. Then the mission planner, let me know. They've got to look into it and work things out, work this out, put everything in order. So their job, again, it's quite a big job. And when you've got 12 squadrons to do it for, instead of 6 or 8, it's a lot more work planning. Who's going to be here, and what we're going to do for them and what they're going to do. So yeah, it's a full-time job.
It is, yeah, and I think that's what I said to Archive last time as well. Is it is an immense amount of work that goes into the research and the planning and the building and the changes, and all of that is mostly done by the same guys every campaign. I'm not saying everybody should do that because we will have time constraints, but it's amazing, and thanks to the work of people like you and the rest of the guys, it's why we get to do this every weekend.
I think all of us in that team, we only really do it because we enjoy doing it. It's not as if we're forced into it. Nobody says, Ginger, you got to build a mission. You need to build this. No, it's because I want to build a mission. And same with the researchers and the planners. I think they want to do it. And they just like, in the end on the Sunday, say, oh, everybody's had a great time. I've done that. I mean, it used to be like, it's always been like in the past with Guido and them. Guido was an excellent mission planner. I mean, he was really into the mission plan, and I think a lot of us have learned from what Guido did, and it set a sort of precedent to how we plan a mission, and so it's a progression, and no doubt if we move on again, more people will do it, and we'll progress even further.
That's true. That's exactly how it's gonna go. You being in the board, a board member of ACG, could you open up a little bit about maybe to the newer members as well? How does that work, and
Well,
what
but
was your how should I say
I got
job
like
include?
I got like a gun put to me head and told I've got to be a board member, so that's how that works. No, I think when obviously we didn't use our board member, we just had Dickie as a dictator because there's like Adolf Hitler into Dicker, and obviously Dickie left. And at that point, I think there's a bit of a vacuum. Who's going to do what? And they created this board. So I think originally there was 2 Luftwaffe members, 2 RAF members, and I think the idea of the board was to, when people say, oh, we want to fly this mission, we want to fly that campaign, we want this weapon, we want that weapon, they'd have a meeting amongst themselves, and they'd say yes, yeah, have a bit of a vote on it, I believe, in them days, and they come out with an outcome and dish the orders out to the members, say, right, we're going to fly this mission, we're going to fly that mission. Then I think when Dickie came back, obviously, for those who don't know, obviously Dickie is he's the main man in my opinion. He set this up, and he's the group captain for the Allies, and basically, in my eyes, Dickie's in control. So now Dickie's the 5th member of the board. So it makes it better really, because when we vote on things, this can be an odd number. It's always better for a vote, isn't it? But basically, what the board do, any sort of disputes, things like that. We try and come to some sort of, well, this has happened, that's happened. Yeah, but this can't do this. We've got to do this. We try and listen to everybody and come up with some sort of solution. The trouble is, the solutions don't please everybody, and that's the trouble.
I mean, you
And I
can
think,
never please anybody in the group
no,
size of an ACG, so that's compromises have to be made by everyone.
yeah, no, in my opinion, I was put in there to, well, I don't know what I put in there for really, because he thought I was quite reasonable with it. I don't know if I am or not. Yeah, I mean, I've got this me, Jackman, Lax, and there was Digby in there. Obviously, he's not there now, but so we are actually a board member short if anybody wants to be one. So put your names forward, and for a price you can join.
There's a
But
monthly
yeah,
membership fee you have to pay.
so running up, I don't know if people knew what was happening, but I seem to be said right. You need to go on the board. And they sort of sniggering in the background, I think, because they knew what were coming. I think they wanted to hatch it, man.
And
So
but you are the only R. Are
I
you the
like,
R? Yeah, you're the only allied representative.
yeah, could Digby was the other board member, but he's left with the other group. So we are one short. But do we need a board now? I don't know if we do, because everything's hunky dory. We've had no issues. Everybody's quite happy with the campaigns since the split. Even though it was unfortunate, we've not had one issue regarding, I don't like this, or I don't want to do that. I don't like him. And it's all been hunky dory.
Yeah, it seems good. But are you the supreme commander of the allied side? Are you?
I'm supposed to be, yeah.
But you're still missing an adjutant, are you? Are you not?
Well, we had two wing commanders, didn't we? So we are one short, but nobody wants to fill that post at the minute. So, like I say, at some point we'll get another one in there, but at the moment we don't really need one because everybody's getting on fine. There's no major issues. We still get little niddles of people sending us PMs saying, "We're like this, don't like that," but we sort that out internally. Members don't have to know everything. I mean, if it's somebody's got a personal problem, as in they've got a grievance with something, we can try and sort that out in the background. No need to post on the forums and on Discord, things like that. Let's sort it out best we can. If you don't like the outcome, you've got two choices, ain't you? You can either leave, like I did. Basically, when I left, and I had an issue with what was happening. I didn't like it. And Dickie gave me the ultimatum. He said, "Look, Ginger, if you don't like it, you've got two choices." And at that point, I'd been pig-headed, and I just said, "Okay, I'll go." And that's the choice everybody's got. They don't have to start digging at people and posting shite on the forums and things like that, do they?
That's correct. You can just leave if you don't like it.
Yeah, but I think that's the sign of the times. You see, it's just this. And like I say, I'm getting on it now, so it's this internet life, isn't it? Where it's very easy to post something about somebody online.
It's easy to hide behind keyboard. I think if there was a meetup between all the members of ACG, I think half the accusations and all that bullshit would be gone anyway, because people don't usually have the balls to do that face to face, except if you're coops.
Yeah, it's a bit. It's a very. I mean, it was a shame what happened, but it has happened. All the best to them, mate. They're basically ACG too, and from what I've seen, they're making a go of it. And if they're all like-minded people, and I'm sure they will make a go of it. And I hope they enjoy it and prosper. Because the more communities we get, and the more people flying we get, better for flights and communities and all, isn't it?
That's exactly how it goes. Now changing subject a little bit. DCS. You do quite a bit of flying on DCS as well, don't you?
I do. I love DCS. I must admit. I think it's a great game. It's got limitations.
It does. It certainly does have those. Do you do jets or World War II or both?
I've got jets, but I don't really fly them. I think with the jets, I've got the area. I've only got the area and the F5, and I've got the MiG-15, but that's not. I mean, that's more like a Hurricane with a jet engine on it.
That's a
It's a
description.
bit basic, isn't it? But the area, there's that many controls and that. If you don't fly them on a regular basis, you lose it.
You do. It's you've got your work cut out for yourself in those jets
Yeah,
because it's too many buttons.
yeah. But I mainly fly the World War II stuff. Or you could look at me. I wish. Mustang, Spitfire, Mosquito. That's what I've got.
And there is a group in ACG that does a bit of flying weekly. Is that correct?
Right, so it's nothing official, but last week we've just started a group of us. I think we're flying on Wednesday, and we're flying World War II DCS. It's no official; it's just we get together and decide. I think at the minute going on the Storm of War server, but that's not fixed. And there's about 8 of us at the minute flying. More are joining every week. But so that's him. I mean, it looks gorgeous. Clickable cockpits, nice planes. I think the plane set's a bit mixed. I don't think the plane set's the best, but we can only fly with what we've got, can't we?
That's correct. But I think, at least I hope, they might bring out some earlier versions of the Spit and the 109 and to create maybe, especially now with the channel map, there's a potential there for very very nice scenarios.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a dream come true, wouldn't it? But I think what we'll do over the more people want to fly. I mean, you don't have to fly; it's only a thing we do. We'll see how many people can get together and see what that sim actually acts like. There's a lot of us in there in close proximity.
Yeah, have you got the channel map or Normandy or
Yeah,
both?
I've got channel map and Normandy. Yeah.
Which one do you prefer?
Well, I thought the channel map looks quite nice fidelity wise, but I personally don't think it looks as good as the Cliffs one. That's just perhaps me. I'm perhaps strange. I just thought Cliffs, something about the Cliffs map of England. It just looks spot on.
Hang on. Did you say the channel map in TCS looks more shy than Cliffs?
No, I say it looks clearer and it looks clean, but when you look at the Cliffs, all the edge rows and things like that. Cliffs it's got something about it. I don't think it's nostalgia or what.
I think it's just your eyes.
Well, it could be, but I don't know if it's the colours look different and things like that. I know the map's nice and it looks very pretty, but does England really look like that? I mean, I was down Dover Castle the other week, and I mean, it didn't quite look like the Great in DCS. Well, it's listening to DCS. I don't know. It just, to me, anyway, it just don't look as good as the Cliffs map.
Do you think?
I know when you get low. I know when you get low down and that. It obviously DCS is a lot clearer and a lot more better looking low down. But at high, I don't think it's quite the same.
It is very heavy on resources though, for PC wise.
Yeah, that's the other thing you see. So some of us have got PCs that can handle it, some of us haven't, have we? But that's always been the case. Like I say, and up until I got me, well, until I finished work, I never had a really beefy PC. And this one I've got now, I mean, it's got a 2080 in it, things like a 2080 Ti in that. But this isn't beefy enough, really. So, yeah, you need a beefy PC to run that game if you want all the settings up.
Yeah, you do. But the good thing about DCS is it still looks quite good, even though if you run it on a bit of a lower settings.
Yeah, I can do. Yeah, I agree with you. I think obviously I'm running VR when it's working. That's another story. And it struggles with VR, I think, compared to Box. Box is very good with VR.
There's something good that box has right at least.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I like Box. I think Box is a good thing. Well, the advantages with Box, you buy a map, you get 10 planes with it. Yeah, 60, 70 quid. I get Normandy. I get me Mosquito. I get this. I get that. I've just had to pay 60 quid for a Mosquito in DCS.
It is quite pricey, but then again,
Yeah,
you get the full fidelity thing that
you
you
do.
need to
Yeah,
learn
but
how to fly.
say
So
people, I know people say, "Oh, let's do a campaign in DCS one day," but you imagine doing a campaign. Unless you did about the Britain, everybody sticks in the same plane for 6 months. It's going to cost you a fortune, isn't it, if you want to swap planes?
well, that was my next question: is do you think a campaign in DCS would be viable in let's think, let's say the Battle of Britain, we have all the planes, we have the map, we would have all the planes for DCS. Do you think it would be viable for ACG to do a campaign in DCS, or do you think it wouldn't work because you'd have to use so much time and effort in training to use the planes, and
No,
you'd
I
need
think
beefier PCs and
I think it'd work great. Battle of Britain just works, something whatever sim you play in Battle of Britain works. I think.
that's a statement, but all right.
Yeah, it does. I think. Battle of Britain's the Battle of Britain. Everybody enjoys it, even if it's crap. I
What?
don't know, my generation. I don't know about the newer generation. They perhaps like the Gulf War. So, all right, let's fly the Gulf War, Falklands.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm too much of a World War II history nutter to.
Yeah, I mean the planes in DCS are actually marvelous, aren't they? The fidelity, like you say, you've got all your controls are clickable, and I don't know about the flight models so much. I think some of them got the problems, but ain't every sim. It's a sim after all. It's not a real plane. And I mean, you'll get these people. Oh, it doesn't turn right. And it doesn't. Have you ever flown a Mustang at full power and in the tight turn? How do you know if it isn't right or not? Because this pilot said it wasn't. Yeah, but you don't know the situation he was in. So yeah, it's a game. You have to play with what you've got, don't you? You can only play with Andy Dell.
That is correct, and it does a phenomenal job at with the planes and with the maps that it have, but it certainly has room for improvement, like everything really.
Yeah, but I must admit with DCS, they are always improving things, aren't they? But trying the best they can.
Yeah, that's true, but they've also I'd like to say the same about Box as well, because they had the spotting update, which improved the spotting, which was
Yeah,
atrocious before that, and now we're getting the clouds as well. So it's
yeah. I think one of them's got to be Pacific, aren't they?
well,
Whoever does
personally, I
whoever does
think
whoever does that first will be into a moneymaker.
yeah, I think DCS is gonna make it first with the amount of stalling that BOX has done, and or with with what the statements that Jason has made before about the Pacific, it's not looking too
How,
promising.
how about Microsoft Flight Simulator?
Doubt it.
Get a damage model. They got the Spits and they're getting all these World War II planes. So we've got to get damage models sorted, and you've got a real map.
Well, yeah, you could fly. You could do the transfer flights all the way from the Western Coast to the
Yeah,
States to the
I say
to the Pacific.
transit me Spitfire to the Pacific.
So that reminds me of, because I used to fly in JFC, which funnily enough is the place where from ACG got its start from.
Right.
Uh, 10 years ago, I flew there and we did IL-2 1946. And 1946 with the mods is a beast. It's got every plane you could possibly imagine from the war, pre-war, and after the war. Somebody actually just made a Harrier for IL-2 1946. That's how far it's come. Either way, we were flying on the Pacific. We were doing the Solomon Islands campaign, and the map was huge. It took me 4 hours to fly a Hellcat from end to end on a transit flight. Grant you, the campaigns worked a little bit differently in JFC. The campaign started on a Friday and it ended on a Sunday, and there wasn't set mission times. You'd go up with a friend if you wanted, and maybe you'd find something, maybe you didn't.
Yeah, we were thinking about doing something like that, weren't we? Maybe again a Battle of Britain, like a full day in the Battle of Britain, where we'd get up at you'd be on the call from 5 o'clock in the morning to 6 at night. You'd all have to sit at your PCs and waiting for the scramble.
Well, that was 10 years ago in the JFC, and I was 14, 15 years old. That's exactly what I did. I had too much time in my hands and too little friends outside PC. So I sometimes, if I was bored, I'd start the game up, sit on the airfield, wait for the sirens to go off.
Yeah, yeah, it's great, isn't it? I've not 1946. I never had 1946. I don't know
Really?
why. Yeah, I think I think I must have missed it while I was playing Rise of Flight or
Yeah,
Cliffs,
probably.
one of the two. Or yeah, when was that? Was it before Cliffs with Dover and that?
It was yes, yeah,
Yeah, I'd be perhaps into Rise of Flight and the other one at that point, the Over Flanders Fields.
yeah, probably, yeah. But it was good, and with the mods, it was bad. I mean, it looks a bit dated, but I think you could still do fun flying with your mates in 1946 if you just use the correct mods, and because you've got every possible theater of war available, and you've got every possible plane you can imagine from the war, and you can all fly them. It's great fun.
I've watched videos of them and doing it, and yeah, it does look all right, I must admit.
Cool. Well, mate, we're almost out of time, so
But we're never out of time. We can talk for hours.
I would if I could, but unfortunately, I don't think.
So, what a question to you then? What do you think of the? How long have you been here in ACG? You know, a year, 2 years?
2.5 now
And
almost.
what's your opinion of your stay here?
I've enjoyed it immensely, I must say. I came in the midsummer 2019. Um, I did my first mission, the evaluation mission, so to speak. I did it with night staff of Coops and the boys, and they were doing the BF 110 in Moscow because all the Luftwaffe units rotated the 6 ground attack missions. And anyway, Boise pulled me into fifth after that. I think they were short on pilots or something. He said, I can't remember his ramblings anyway. And yeah, then flew the 109 for a couple of missions, and then again it was fifth's turn to do the 110, so did that for the rest of Moscow, and then it was some leaning forward maybe after that. I can't
Yeah,
remember. Yeah, it was. I'm not fond of cliffs. I'm too used to box, so I don't like the way planes fly in cliffs. I don't enjoy it, but I enjoy it with ACG, and that's the best thing about ACG is it makes the shit things more more
yeah.
enjoyable.
I think that was the thing because it was like Tobruk. I mean, I thought Tobruk was a bit. I know it's Cliffs of Dover. It's not the same. It was a bit naff the map and that, but we all got on with it. And we enjoyed it because that's what we do. We just like say, this is what we're working with. This is how we do it. And I think, like I say, a lot of people enjoyed that campaign, and we move on. Who knows what's next?
Yeah, and I've heard there's some nice campaigns coming up next year, so very much looking forward to that. And I've enjoyed my time immensely in ACG. It's unique. There's nothing like it, and I'm glad it exists.
Yeah, it's been great, anyway. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Ginger, and all the best.
Yeah, and remember, we need another wing commander for the RAF, so put your applications in, everybody.
I do you know I'll sit on that thought.
Okay, okay. I'll see you later.
See ya.
Cheerio.